Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our second of these devotional videos looking through the book of First Peter. This morning we're going to look at First Peter chapter 1 verses 3 through 9. And I'm not going to read the passage this morning just for sake of time, but I just want to point out some things throughout the passage, and I'd encourage you to read it as well, just for yourself. That's First Peter 3 through 9. I don't know about you, but I've never been the type of person to really focus on or set goals for myself. I've struggled at that throughout my life, but it's interesting when I have set goals for myself in my life. I've often seen very strong success with those portions of my life. And for instance, when I entered into seminary, I was really driven. I was determined to get through that program so that I could do what of course what I felt God had called me to do. And so I set a goal for myself that I was going to achieve and try as hard as I could to do as well as I could throughout my seminary career. In verses 3 through 9, it's interesting. As Peter's writing this, it's almost as if he sets a goal for us, or rather shows us a goal that we have for ourselves. And he does that first and foremost by showing us what we have been given in Christ. Verse 3, he opens by showing that God has given us great mercy, and through that great mercy, he's given us new birth. He's given us new birth, and not only new birth, he has also given us an inheritance that he says can never perish, spoil, or fade. And it's an inheritance that is kept and guarded for us in heaven through the power of God. And this should give us great confidence in, once again, the promises and the goals or the things to look toward that God has given us. All of these things are secured for us not by what we do, not by how we act, not by how we live, but through the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Now make no mistake, that has implications for how we live, how we act, how we move in this world. But it was all secured for us not by those things, but rather through the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And then he reminds the people whom he's writing to, these elect exiles in dispersion, as we sort of saw yesterday. He reminds them that even though that they may face difficulties, hardship, and tough times at this point in their lives, he reminds them that these hardships, these difficulties that they face are means that sort of define them, shape them. Maybe not even define them, maybe that's the wrong word, but they certainly shape them and refined who they are as individuals. We often look back at difficult times in our lives, and though we would never wish them on anyone else, on the other side of them, so often we can see that those hardships, those difficulties we faced, shape us in deep and meaningful ways. Sometimes causing us to become much better people than we once were before. And so we have to think of that often as how we experience hardship and difficulty in our lives. These are opportunities to be shaped and to allow God to work in our lives right here and now. Because the reality is the goal is set for us. We've been guaranteed the inheritance. We've been guaranteed the end result of our faith. And as he says in verse 9, which is the salvation of our souls. And so as we experience or work through this difficult time, I pray that you will see it as an opportunity to experience God's presence, to grow in the grace he has given us, and to allow him to work in and shape our faith in very strong and meaningful ways. Blessings this day.